I like that you talk about gluten and removing gluten from your diet. I've got my opinions on why gluten is so bad for our body and why so many people have those adverse reactions to it. I'd love to know what your philosophies are, why gluten is such an issue for so many people.
Yeah, well, there's several reasons, and one is that it's very hybridized. So, you know, let's take the argument of it can't be bad because it's in the Bible, right? We're supposed to eat bread, right? That's true, but it's not the wheat plant that we had in those times.
Right.
It's actually been very modified, very changed. The protein structure is very different in terms of there's a lot more gluten in the wheat today than there was, even 100 years ago before some of these changes were made. And so the gluten is actually a combination of two proteins, and it can be difficult for people to digest. And so when you go from a plant that has a low amount of this in there to a high amount, you're naturally going to see more sensitivities arise, more digestive issues arise just naturally. Then on top of it, you include all of these new food processes that we have where we can get food quickly, easily, and almost everything that's processed has gluten and wheat in it. And your exposure to the food itself, not just the proteins in the food, but the food itself is skyrocketed. So we have this tremendous increase in the amount that we have been eating.
Right.
And then on top of that, we have, farming practices that include spraying crops like wheat heavily with glyphosate. And we know that very, very small amounts of glyphosate kill and damage your beneficial gut bacteria. So there's kind of a plethora, kind of a combination of reasons that we're seeing a lot of inflammation and a lot of disruption when people are eating this. It's also something that increases a protein called zonulin, which increases the tight junctions in your gut lining. So basically that just makes your gut lining more permeable. So there's some other things going on. If it's a chronic problem for you, if it's a food sensitivity for you, if you have other gut issues, it's definitely something you want to avoid for sure.